When you hear the term venture capital, you probably picture a bunch of money getting thrown at the next big app in Silicon Valley, right? But what if its real power, its hidden superpower, lies somewhere else entirely? Today, we're going to dive into how VC isn't just about funding companies. It's actually a tool, a powerful one, for building entire economies, literally from scratch in some of the world's most challenging markets. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly frames the huge challenge we're talking about. See, if you're an entrepreneur in London or New York, the system is already there for you. The roads, the banks, the laws, it all works. But in so many other parts of the world, founders have to build everything themselves. And that idea is absolutely fundamental to the rest of this story. So this leads us to something called the entrepreneur's double burden. It's this idea that unlike founders in wealthy countries, these entrepreneurs have two jobs. It's a two-for-one deal they never asked for. First, yeah, they've got to build a company that actually works. But second, and this is the crazy part, they have to build the entire ecosystem that their company needs just to stay alive. So why? Why is that second job so unbelievably huge? Well, it all comes down to the world they're operating in. It's a reality of just extreme scarcity, where every single resource is constrained, which makes everything 10 times harder. I mean, just look at this comparison. It's absolutely stark. In the US, the government has about $30,000 per person per year to spend on building and maintaining the country. Now, look at Nigeria. That number is around $200. Not 2,000, 200. The gap is just massive. And you have to think about what that tiny budget, that $200, has to cover. It's got to cover everything we just take for granted. We're talking about all the roads, the whole healthcare system, education for millions of kids, and national security. The pressure on those funds is immense, and it means there's just no safety net for businesses. Okay, let's bring this home for a second. 93% of everyone on this planet lives on less than $50 a day. That means for most of us watching this right now, we are, in a global sense, unicorns. We're the exception. And that reality totally changes what it even means to be a consumer. And here's what that scarcity does in the real world. The average small business in a country like Nigeria is only 12% as productive as a large company in the exact same country. And why is that? It's that lack of infrastructure. Power that cuts out, terrible roads, no real access to credit, the basic system just isn't there to help them grow. But here's the amazing part. Out of all this scarcity, a really unique and powerful kind of progress is born. It forces a totally different way of thinking, one that's focused on a very specific type of innovation that can actually thrive in these tough conditions. So let's redefine a word we all think we know: consumption. It's not about buying a fancy new gadget. No, at its core, consumption is about solving a struggle. Hunger is a struggle, and the food you buy is the solution you consume. Needing to get to your job is a struggle, and the bus ticket you buy is the solution. It's that fundamental. And that gets us to the heart of the problem. For many of us, consumption is easy. It's effortless. Got a headache? You go get medicine. Hungry? You grab some food. But for billions of people, for the vast majority of the world, solving these basic daily struggles is an incredibly complex and difficult chore. And this is where something called market-creating innovation comes into play. Now, this isn't about making a slightly better phone for people who already own one. No way. This is about taking something that used to be complicated and expensive, think about what cell phones were like 25 years ago, and making it so simple and so affordable that millions, even billions of new people can finally get access to it. This process usually happens in 3 phases. It starts with discovery, where a new product is really just for the rich few. But then comes phase 2, distribution. And this is the magic part. This is the engine. It's what makes a product accessible to the masses. And in doing so, it creates tons of jobs, drives economic growth, and generates the tax revenue that pays for everything else. Only then can you get to democratization, where something becomes a basic public good for everyone. So if you've got these incredible entrepreneurs building entire systems from the ground up, who on earth funds this kind of messy, unpredictable, long-term work? Well, this is where our unlikely hero steps into the story: venture capital. It's the one financial tool that's almost uniquely designed for this job. And here's the beautiful paradox at the heart of it all. Venture capital is famously the riskiest money out there. But in these environments, it's that very tolerance for risk that allows it to wade into chaotic, informal economies and start building order. It's the riskiest money that builds the strongest, most stable foundations for everyone else. This quote from Lawrence Rockefeller, one of the pioneers of VC, just captures the required mindset perfectly. This is not about making a quick buck. This is about patient, long-term capital that can handle the failures and the setbacks that are just inevitable when you're building something brand new.
So how does it actually create that order? Well, when VC money comes in, it professionalizes businesses. They have to start keeping proper financial records, they become formal entities, and guess what? They start paying taxes, which builds up the government's ability to provide services. This whole process systematizes the economy, and this is crucial, it de-risks the entire market, making it safer for the less risky money, like bank loans, to come in later on.
And look, this isn't some newfangled idea. VC has always adapted to the times. Its roots go all the way back to funding incredibly risky whaling expeditions in the 1700s. It evolved to manage the new wealth of the Industrial Revolution, it got professionalized after World War II, and then it got supercharged in the 70s when pension funds were finally allowed to invest. The point is, it has always changed to meet the needs of the era. Which, of course, brings us to the big question for today. Given this unique double burden that entrepreneurs in these markets are carrying, what should our modern version of venture capital actually look like to give them the best shot at success? And what all this points to is a new path for progress, a new way of thinking about development itself. It's not about top-down aid programs, it's about bottom-up system building, driven by entrepreneurs on the ground. It's really about patience and having the right perspective. You can't just rush the creation of an ecosystem. It's like a baby takes 9 months to develop, right? You can't force it to happen in 2. Building a market has its own natural clock. And if we understand that, we can support these entrepreneurs for the long haul, and as the quote says, we won't give up on them too soon. Ultimately, I think this quote just captures the entire idea perfectly. The real solutions aren't about finding some new, undiscovered place to work. The real breakthrough comes from looking at the challenges that are right in front of us, but with new eyes. Seeing that struggle isn't a barrier, it's actually the source of the biggest opportunities. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. When you think about it, this model doesn't just create one company. It creates an entire ecosystem, one that generates jobs, pays taxes, and builds infrastructure that can last for generations. So the question is this type of investing actually the most important, the most sustainable work happening in global development today?